It is 2:47 local time, the 6th of July, 2025. The world sleeps, but 200 feet below the surface of the dark waters east of Okinawa. The clock is ticking. A low-frequency echo repeats through the cold steel hull of the USS Dewey, a U.S. Arleigh Burke-class destroyer. Inside the sonar room, the white noise of the deep ocean suddenly breaks. The ping is steady, deliberate, and undeniably not one of theirs. The sonar operator doesn't need a second pass. This is the sound of an unseen hunter. Within seconds, alarms flare through the ship. The call echoes through the narrow corridors. General quarters! General quarters! Sailors sprint to their battle stations. On the bridge, the radar paints a faint metallic smudge, miles below the surface. The sea outside looks deceptively calm, a mirror of the stars. But under that stillness, something massive, something silent, is gliding too slow for a torpedo, too quiet for a whale. A bearing line hardens on the screen. The watch officer whispers a single, tense word, "Trail." Command confirms. Possible SSBN shadowing. This is not a lone game. The signal propagates across the joint data link. Far to the south, the Japanese helicopter carrier JS Kaga and the French nuclear-powered carrier Charles de Gaulle report the identical, haunting pulse. The three great powers are listening, and they hear the same thing. Far to the southwest, a satellite hit flags a distinct heat signature near the strategic choke point of the Luzon Strait. Intelligence confirms the contacts. China's massive Type 925 Changdao deep-sea rescue ship and a Type 54 Amperes frigate. The Yulin, running dark and close. The air is thick with anticipation. Strike jets are secured on deck. Anti-submarine warfare ASW choppers, the MH-60 are Seahawks, spin their rotors up, ready to drop into the abyss. The mighty carrier USS Carl Vinson acknowledges the threat, turning her immense mass into the wind, preparing for the long night ahead. The first minutes will decide who sees whom and who survives the opening move of this deep-sea chess match. At sunrise, the fog over the East China Sea will burn away to reveal not a calm ocean, but a chessboard of global power. The chessboard of power. For weeks, the intelligence reports have been building. Chinese underwater activity has spiked. Noise bursts, strange towed objects, and encrypted signals. Beijing, analysts believe, is aggressively testing deep-sea networks capable of tracking submarines across continents. To the U.S. Navy, this means one profound thing. The undersea map is being rewritten. The USS Carl Vinson carrier group patrols east of Taiwan, a beacon of Allied resolve. Francis Charles de Gaulle steams up from the south, a strategic anchor. Japan's JS Kaga links its cutting-edge sonar grid, forming a perfect triangle, a net meant to watch, not to fight. But below that calm, a darker formation lurks. China's Changdao and Yulin, guarding something unseen, move with disciplined, cold intent. Every move in this part of the world is a message. The U.S. and its allies train to keep the seas open, a global highway of commerce and freedom. China moves to show that it can close them at will. Each sonar ping, each fleeting shadow, holds the potential to ignite a war no one truly planned. The sailors on watch know this cold reality. The ocean, however, doesn't care. It swallows fear and sound alike. By July 7th, both sides mirror each other, two predators circling in the blackness, daring the other to blink first. Sonar trails overlap, tempers rise, and the Luzon Strait becomes the quietest, yet most dangerously volatile, place on Earth. Merchant ships reroute by the dozen. Global insurance rates climb. One wrong maneuver, one moment of panic, and the headlines will change before dawn. From the command centers, the calls are calm, but firm: hold course. Keep distance. Log everything. ASW helicopters mark an invisible picket line in the air. Fighters wait silent on the decks, their engines cold. The goal is simple yet monumental. Keep trade flowing. Keep allies steady. Avoid the spark that lights the fuse. A greeting from the deep. The night of July 8, 2025. 1:12 local time. Inside the USS Dewey's sonar room, the same operator stiffens. A faint, new metallic rhythm cuts through the static. Not the ocean's noise, and certainly not a friendly signature. The pulse repeats. Slow, precise, deliberate. It's closer now. He recalibrates, filters out the ambient noise, and leans in. Contact bearing 081. Range 20 miles. Depth 200. The ship's internal lights dim to a combat red. Moments later, Japan's JS Kaga confirms a similar trace. Francis Charles de Gaulle picks up a matching echo farther south. This is the chilling realization. Not one submarine, but two. A hunter and something larger, likely the Type 93B nuclear submarine being escorted by the Yulin frigate. The Dewey's captain orders, engines to quiet mode. The mighty destroyer drifts on momentum alone. A ghost ship in the night. Air crews rush to ready the Seahawks, loading sonar buoys, eyes for the water. On the USS Carl Vinson's deck, crews move under low red light, every gesture measured. The strike group now plays by sonar and silence. At 1:29, an American buoy pings back a strong return, northeast vector. The sonar plot sharpens. A Type 93B nuclear sub and, deeper below, a slow-moving, massive mass, likely the Yulin. The sea has become a layered, acoustic maze. Then, from the absolute blackness of the deep, a single active ping echoes. Sharp, white, unmistakable. China just said hello. The Dewey replies with a half-ping, a coded burst, the underwater version of eye contact. Neither side fires. Both simply log the exchange. The confrontation is measured, professional, and terrifyingly close. Suddenly, the Kaga's hello detects intense turbulence near the Luzon shelf. Cavitation trails rising fast. Possible torpedo launch, someone yells. For one breathless second, every console freezes. The sound of a metal-on-metal collision hangs in the air. Then, the relief. Negative. Ballast venting only. The air loosens, but the tension is a physical weight. Surface ships adjust their formation, keeping perfect spacing to avoid sonar overlap. The French carrier turns west, deploying a vast towed array, a sensitive underwater microphone. The Vinson holds north, a shield covering the flank. The rules of engagement tighten further. Radios stay clipped and short. The Dewey arms its Nixie decoys and checks its SLQ-32 electronic countermeasures. An unblinking P-8A Poseidon maritime patrol aircraft orbits high above, silent and ready. The message is clear. Don't spook the deep. No shots fired. No provocation. Yet, every passing second feels like a coin toss between peace and chaos. Dawn breaks gray and heavy over the Luzon Strait. The sea looks calm, but every ship's sonar tells a story of imminent war. Deep below, the two Chinese contacts split their formation. One slides silently east toward the Kaga. The other sinks lower, shadowing the Dewey's keel. This move is not random. It is pressure. A quiet, precise test of nerves. Maintain course, the Dewey's captain says, his voice steady against the rising panic in the room. Torpedo crews stand by. Decoy launchers hum alive. Onboard systems switch to full combat readiness. Yet no one dares to fire first. The rule is simple, etched into every sailor's mind. Whoever blinks loses the moral high ground, and maybe the war. At 5:12, a sonar buoy reports sharp cavitation spikes near the French carrier. It's a Chinese drone, small, fast, zigzagging like a shark. A technological probe. The Charles de Gaulle immediately launches its own decoy drones, flooding the acoustic spectrum with false echoes. Overhead, the US P-8A cuts through the cloud cover, dropping fresh buoys to rebuild the torn grid. On the Vinson's deck, F/A-18 Super Hornets sit idle, their massive engines ticking in the morning heat. Pilots wait with helmets in hand, listening to the strained radio chatter, the sound of patience under pressure. At 5:40, a sudden, catastrophic sonar flash erupts. Contact merge. The Dewey and the Kaga both record overlapping tracks. Someone has crossed into strike range. The command rooms go stone still. The next move could rewrite the Pacific balance overnight. Then, the unthinkable happens. The Chinese sub rises 20 meters. Its outline is clear on the screen. Deliberate, visible, a show of strength, not stealth. The Dewey holds fire. The Kaga locks on but does not release. Then the French frigate Forbin slides between them, a living shield of steel and calm. The standoff freezes. Every captain is waiting for the other to breathe first. The silence stretches. No missiles, no shots, just the sound of machines listening for intent, and men praying the sea stays quiet a little longer. The ghost ping, a thick thermocline, a layer of warmer water, rolls in from the Philippine Sea, bending sound like glass. Sonar returns smear. Tracks vanish, then reappear a mile off. One wrong filter and a decoy looks like a war shot. The crews breathe shallow and wait. Just past midnight, July 9th, a tremor ripples through the entire Allied grid. One of the U.S. sonar buoys near the Luzon shelf goes dark. Not jammed, not destroyed, just gone. The Dewey's console blinks and resets. A minute later, a new signal appears from the same spot. Deeper, stronger, coded differently. At first, the crew dismisses it as a malfunction, but the pattern repeats. French and Japanese buoys report phantom returns at identical depths. Something below is mimicking their own sonar, copying and rebroadcasting it in reverse. Ghost ping, the French operator mutters, is a trick no one has seen before. Real-time signal inversion. The ocean suddenly fills with false targets. No one can tell which echo is real. The Dewey launches a diagnostic drone. It dives through the murky water until the video feed cuts to static. The last frame shows a glimmer. Not metal, but a shape wrapped in fiber mesh, reflecting no light. A stealth probe. Chinese or autonomous? No one knows. The crews realize they have lost control of the picture. Somewhere in the dark, a new frequency hums, too precise to be random. It is as if the sea itself has started listening back. Then, out of the electronic noise, a faint distress tone echoes. 3 pings in perfect rhythm. A U.S. signature, but none of their subs are missing. The Allies stare at the console, silent. A ghost signal is calling for help from 200 miles inside what would be Chinese waters. The Shadow War just found its voice. The truth in the wreckage. It is 3:02 local time, the 9th of July 2025. The Luzon Strait is black water and red tension. Every ship runs silent, drawn by the haunting, rhythmic distress call. The Dewey's sonar paints the cold, faint shape of a submarine that shouldn't exist. It's moving toward the surface. Could be a decoy, the analyst whispers, but the heat signature reads human. The Kaga and de Gaulle confirm the same contact. Whoever sent that distress call is real, or something wants them to believe it is. The U.S. task force edges forward. Depth charges are armed, but not dropped. Across the strait, a Chinese Type 93B rises fast. Its acoustic profile matches the Phantom exactly. For 10 agonizing seconds, the two identical signatures overlap. One real, one false, and the entire map collapses into chaos. Contact merged. Multiple bearings. Lost track. Reacquire now. In that moment, the sea explodes in sound. A sonar buoy detonates, not by a weapon but by an instantaneous pressure spike. Shock waves ripple across the sensors, scrambling the data. The French frigate Forbin tilts under the blast wave. The Dewey counters with full rudder. Everyone braces for torpedoes that never come. Then, from the dark abyss, an object breaks the surface. Torn hull plating, rising slow. Floodlights from the Dewey catch the faded numbers. 841. It is the Chinese rescue ship Changdao. Its bow is split open. The decks are empty. No heat. No crew. The silence is unbearable.
No heat.
Commanders on both sides realize someone else or something else triggered this chain of events. The ocean is no longer theirs to control. On the Carl Vinson, radar officers spot a faint transmission bouncing between the layers. A digital signature looping endlessly. The ghost ping replaying itself. The distress call never stopped. It's self-generating. Every screen glows with the same haunting pattern. 3 perfect pings repeating. The Allies and the Chinese freeze, unsure whether to retreat or fire. Spray hisses along the steel. Crews grip the rails, knuckles white. Somewhere below, metal scrapes metal in a teeth-on-edge grind. The next second decides everything. By sunrise, the Luzon Strait is silent again. Too silent. Waves roll across empty water, carrying no trace of battle, no sign of victory. The ghost ping fades at last, leaving only static and disbelief. The USS Dewey sonar crew stares at their screens, hollow-eyed. They replay the recording again and again. 3 perfect tones, 1 impossible voice. The Changdao drifts half-sunk nearby, its hull bleeding oil like ink into the dawn. Rescue teams from the Kaga approach under white flags, scanning for survivors. None are found. The wreck carries no crew, no logs, not even a power cord. It is as if the ship was built to die here, to send one final, chilling message. The ocean no longer answers to nations. On the bridge of the Carl Vinson, commanders trade quiet words. No one claims victory. Officially, there was no confrontation, no shots fired, no casualties. But every captain in the task force understands what has changed forever. The Chinese sub vanishes from sonar, slipping beneath the thermocline without a trace. Satellite imagery later shows faint heat blooms heading north. Then, nothing. Both sides will write their own version of what happened, but deep down, they share the same profound unease. Something else is moving in the depths. Strategically, the world wakes to a new, cold reality. Sonar is no longer the truth. A ghost signal can rewrite facts faster than diplomats ever could. In Washington and Beijing, analysts whisper the same question. Who built it and who controls it now? As the sun rises over the Philippine Sea, the shadow war slips beneath the surface again. The water looks calm, but every captain knows calm is only what the sea shows before it decides to strike. And this time, it might not be either side holding the trigger. The U.S. Navy and its allies maintained their line, their discipline unbroken, facing an invisible foe. It was their resolve that kept a skirmish from becoming a catastrophe.